So first thing is you have your photo off your camera. First thing you're probably going to want to do is make a duplicate of it so that you don't change the original. So I'm going to start with duplicating it, changing the name. Okay, and then closing the original so that you don't change it at all. So now my goal is to put this on my blog, so you could skip this part if you are not. If you're going to be printing this, you are probably not going to need a watermark it anyway, but chances are you're watching this because you're resizing for your blog. I'm taking this picture and I'm going to first make it smaller. When I say smaller, I mean it's going to be a smaller file size, not necessarily height and width, but definitely a smaller pixel size so that it views faster in a browser. So taking this image, I'm going to click on image, image size, and I'm going to make sure the resolution is 72. Some cameras take images at 300 pixels per inch. Mine, it does at 72. So making sure that resampling is on. Okay, if you were going to change it, if it were 300 or some other number, you're gonna not need it any larger than 72 dpi. And with resampling on, you're not gonna lose any of the rest of the size, the height and the width, because if you don't turn on resampling and you make that smaller, whatever your width and height is, while you're editing, you cannot go back up. So whatever width and height you begin with, you want that to be as large as possible, because that will determine, you know, the clarity of your photo. So at 72 dpi, I'm going to change the width. Now, for me, and it might be different for everybody, I like my images in my blog to be at least 1200 if it's going to span the entire blog. So it's 1200, and I allow the height to readjust to what is here, a fixed lock on width and height. I'm going to click OK. You can see the photo is already smaller. So let me bring that up a little. So it's back to viewing size. So now, of course, I'm looking at it at 64%, 70%. So it's actually larger than this. But I'm working on a high resolution screen. So the next thing that I want to do is I kind of want to put some copyright information in here. So on Photoshop Creative Cloud 2017, and actually I think every version of Photoshop, under File, there is File Info, and what I'm going to do is under Basic, I'm going to name it. Now I want people to find my images, but I want to make sure that I get credit for it. So he's a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. Wesley Therapy Dog. So if somebody Google searches on that, I always refer to him on social media as Wesley Therapy Dog. We're also in New York. We're in Little Italy. And we're in the Bronx, New York. So copyright, I've decided the image is copyrighted to me. And just for the heck of it, I'm going to put my website in there. So there you go. That's really all you have to do. That information is now embedded in the photo. So if somebody were to take it and download it and upload it to their own, your information's in it. But we're going to take this a step further. We're going to take a pre-made watermark. And in this case, I've got a watermark that I've made that I've rendered to a brush. So using the brush and having chosen my watermark brush, I can change the size, which I have changed to 750. I want my opacity to be 100, which I can change. And so wherever I put it, it is. So if I wanted to move it, I'd have to undo and redo. But if I wanted to change the opacity and play with it a little, and I didn't want to have to do an undo, is I come back over here, I create a new layer. Okay, and so here I can put this in and then go to my move tool here, and I can move this around wherever I want it to be. And because it's a layer, I can come over here to layers, double click on it, and change the opacity so that it's not as bright. And I usually find a reason to overlap my watermark with the image itself or some important part of the image. Like I could put it down here, but it gets kind of messy. The only important part I think that's important is the image is copyrighting me, Salona. Not so much the rest of it, or my name even. So I've now kind of put this on here so it doesn't jump at you right away. I could even put it honestly in the street here, but I do want it to overlap him a little and have the image copyrighting me, Salona. And let's take the opacity down a little. Again, you could still read it, you could still see it. Those 3 words here, images, copyrighted Amy Salona, 4 words, are the most, are still seeable. So that's good enough for me. I'm going to export this, and in Creative Suite they have a legacy. I'm sorry, in Creative Cloud they have legacy because I still don't know how to figure out how to do the new exporting. So I go to legacy, anywhere between 40 and 60, and you could see I had it on 40 for quality of JPEG here. These are your options. 40 makes it 282 kilobytes, just still kind of big, but 60, which is about my normal, is a lot bigger. So that's more, 418. So let's do 40 is low. We'll do 48. Okay, 325. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit save down here. And I'm going to call it Leslie Takes New York. And I'm just saving that there. I've already done this once before. So here is my latest, and now I know where to find it. It is copyrighted, it is watermarked, and it is sized properly for the web. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.